I'm sorry, my dear. Did I frighten you?
Ha! No.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel Paws On Animation and our podcast.
And today we're unfortunately covering another live action Disney remake, Snow White.
And we're covering because you have been waiting for this and saying you can't wait for us to cover. Well, guys, here you go.
Yep.
So this time, Disney decided to take their very first animated movie and give it a modern update. Spoiler alert! Never thought we'd say this. This is the worst remake they've made in history. Even worse than Artemis Fowl.
Can you believe it?
But
before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, notification links on future podcasts and all the past videos.
And thank you so much for joining us today, subscribing, sharing our videos, commenting, everything you do specials. We appreciate it so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And no, this is not an April Fool's joke. The movie is, but the podcast isn't.
Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, this movie, there is so much to say about it. And unfortunately, guys and Kyle, it's not good. This movie is terrible. Everything practically about it is terrible.
Yeah.
And you can't even compliment cinematography because everything was on a freaking green screen.
Right, and it looked drab most of the time on top of it. So this was requested for us to cover many times because we have been covering a lot of live action remakes Disney has had. And only a couple of them we've seen have actually been decent or good to us out of probably 50 they've done right now. And they're not going to stop. But Snow White was so bad, it was making the news at this rate because the fact that they were remaking this, the fact they felt the need to remake it, then said it was the original was inferior. Even though it was the very first movie they did and got the company off the ground,
Mm-hmm.
they thought, oh, well, that's garbage. We're going to fix all the problems wrong with the first movie we ever made.
Yeah.
And you made more problems. That's how you're going to deal with it.
And that's what happened. So before we go forward, we want to mention the only controversy we're going to mention in this podcast is about Rachel Zegler's dumb comments. Anything else we will not address. No. This is a family channel meant for fun. If you add us about the other controversies, especially political ones, we will not respond.
No.
And we will delete your comments. So you know ahead of time. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So for those of you not familiar, and I don't know how you wouldn't be, with Disney's Snow White, the fake one, 2025, it's a musical fantasy film and a live action remake of the 1937 animated masterpiece Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yes.
That was based on the 1812 fairy tale.
Yes.
This is directed by Mark Webb and written by Aaron Cressida Wilson, who I hope we never see either of them again. We will talk about the cast. And the reimagining of this is what we'll get to first.
Yeah.
It was already imaginative and creative and different and exciting and new. And when Walt Disney decided to do this, he kept it that way. Mm-hmm. And you can go back at any time you want, buy the DVD, or if you own the DVD, or get a DVD.
Why do you keep saying DVD?
You can watch the original. There was no need for this at all. We know now Disney just doesn't want to make anything new. They want to ride the coattails of what Walt did to make the franchise great. And that's what they keep doing. And by doing that, they are not only weakening the structure of their company, they're destroying these individual franchises that have been making money so much. And they, by doing live actions, are insulting the originals because... Yeah. Except for Christopher Robin, we can't think of any other live action Disney remake movie that has been done right.
Right.
If you disagree and you have some you like and want to tell us why, let us know in the comments.
Right.
That we'd be happy to hear about.
Right. The fact that they insult the original movie, they insult the original people who worked on it, they insult Walt himself. They even insult the person who wrote the very first story of it in the 1800s, and then decided to get smarmy online and say, well, we're choosing one of the other interpretations of, even for the name itself, change the name to just Snow White altogether, and just had to get an attitude and say, well, we chose the version where the name Snow White came from her being born in the coldest of winter. So don't at us because we chose a different person to play the role that didn't match how the character looked. And it's like, okay, one, you bent over backwards to find an excuse for that, and two, who cares?
Exactly.
Just don't make this movie,
Right,
period.
right. And if you do make it, get actors that can perform the roles wonderfully, make us feel like we're in a fantasy.
Exactly.
That would have been fine. Really didn't care what she looked like. So this movie ran a long 109 minutes.
Oh, you felt every minute of it.
It had a budget of $336 unnecessary $1 million.
What?
And
how much?
The box office was $207 million. They got $200 million more than they deserved to get.
Oh my god.
This movie is it's an insult to animation. It's an insult to the original story. It's an insult to Walt Disney. It's an insult to fans who really love the Snow White tale and the original movie. It's an insult to anyone who watched this movie because you could tell there was an arrogantness that took place in this movie by the way it was presented. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. And that's unfortunate because you pretend you want people to like your movie, yet you treat them like what you think doesn't matter, but you want people to pay to see the movie.
Yes.
So beyond the people who always go out because they're Disney loyal and they pay to see these things because they're loyal to Disney, you get that money. But the people who go who aren't and they find the movie to be terrible, you're not going to get them back.
No.
And with this one, you're never going to get anyone who wants to see you make a live action movie besides the Disney loyal group.
Yes.
So, first thing we want to talk about is the acting. Oh my gosh. I can't believe they even put this out. I don't know how this got greenlit.
Sold it.
Before we get to Rachel Zegler and the rest of them, I want to get to Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot, I'm still going to maintain that she was excellent in the original Wonder Woman movie. She was fantastic. It was her element. And she should have stopped there. Because in this movie, she is absolutely terrible. And I kept saying to Rascal, she can't be that bad. This movie can't be that bad. The acting can't be that bad. It's worse than I imagined. Rachel Zegler has less talent than Plank on Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
He has emotion.
Exactly. It was like you don't know what the idea this cast had. Not one standout of the live action actors. I'm sorry. We don't like to criticize and complain and make fun. We're not making fun. Everyone just seemed to be going through the motions and getting a paycheck. Rachel Zegler was not good in this.
No.
There was no acting talent. There was no ability for her to feign innocence because she couldn't do it.
No.
There was nothing magical about her performance. There was nothing magical about this movie. The best part of the movie were the voice actors for the CGI dwarfs.
Yes, and that is really bad because they already changed the script they didn't even want the dwarves in there at first, and the ones who were the 7 magical creatures got repurposed into being basically the merry men for a new character that's not a prince, but he's a thief, he's Flynn Rider, yada yada yada, all that.
He's not Flynn Rider.
That's what they were imitating.
He's not Flynn Rider.
Like, why? That's a different movie.
He's no Flynn Rider. I don't know what he was, and he fit right in because his performance was just as lackluster as everyone else's.
Right.
Congratulations.
Right, and the fact that it came from the part of the movie where it's CGI and not actual people being the characters, because a lot of this movie is really animated, but they're calling it live action. It was terrible.
Yeah.
And with the music, their song was the only one I liked because it's the only one that seemed to maintain the spirit of the original and gave it more, I guess, a performance, a theatrical type emotion. Yes. That was the only one that kind of felt like something like the original.
And it wasn't
movie.
just because you were familiar with the song. Again, the voice actors for the CGI dwarves were the best part of this movie. Rachel Zegler can't say anything about her singing voice. Her singing voice is fine.
Yeah.
It's just there was no emotion in it, nothing coming through that will make you connect with her. But her singing voice is fine. We're not going to criticize it. She sounded good. She just didn't make me feel anything when I listened.
It was
unfortunately. Gal Gadot shouldn't have sang, and she shouldn't have acted. I'm sorry, Gal. Love you in Wonder Woman, the first movie only, but this, no. I'm sorry. Second thing, as we mentioned, so much of it was green screen. So much of it was fake and not real.
Yeah.
Who in their right mind thought this was a good idea to make a fake Snow White?
Yes. The forest is fake. The dwarves are fake.
And you can even see what some of the characters are behind, in front of the green screen.
Yes.
You can see the glow in the outline, letting you know it's not real.
Exactly.
You spent how much? $336 million on a movie. I'm not going to ask you where that money went, but I can tell you it didn't go into this movie because you could have at least made a more convincing green screen.
Even the animals were all fake. And granted, they've been doing them all, making CGI or photorealistic animals like with the Lion King. Fair enough. But they went from like so realistic that there was nothing on those lions' faces that showed any emotion to you got the animals that look sort of creepy in a way where they look like they're just straight up AI. They don't look right. And they're supposed to have where she's like, oh wow, these are what cute little animals, and they lead her to the house so she can find a place to rest and everything. It means nothing because all these animals look off. And on top of it, like Mama suggested we watch the movie, why don't they just use the original animated animals from the very first movie?
Yes, that would have been fantastic. It would have been a callback and a shout out, and I bet you so many people would have been, oh, it's so wonderful that they put them in there.
Right.
That would have been endearing.
The problem is that that requires 2D, and Disney is vehement on trying to erase that from their company. That being said, the animals didn't even look good. And the worst, and this is not me just trying to nitpick, they have all these forest animals from the original. Then they added a hedgehog.
A forest animal.
Yes.
A forest animal.
The hedgehog's a forest animal.
Think about that. Yeah.
Yes, and it's not just like, okay, it was just there and we pointed out just because. They put the camera on that hedgehog. Like the opening of the movie, because I didn't even realize until Mama pointed out. Why is there a hedgehog on the book? Literally on top of the Snow White book, a hedgehog's curled up asleep on it, and then the animals try to get him off so they can start the movie.
You cannot connect us to Sonic, nor can you beat Sonic, so just stop. Stop referencing him in every movie you put out now. There's always something to do with a hedgehog in it.
Yes!
Get over it. You finally left Trial on. Thank God. You ruined it yourselves at the last movie. You finally left Trial alone because before you were putting Tron in everything you did, animated live action, it was infuriating. But finally, you've put Tron to rest.
Yes.
Now you're going to harp on the hedgehog and Sonic. Stop!
And yes, throughout this movie, when they focus on the animals, they make sure to have a big focus shot on the hedgehog. They even have at the end of the movie where he gets back on the book and rolls up and like he's cute, like, hi, look, it's a hedgehog. The audience loves hedgehogs, and it's like, can you stop?
And I felt like Charlie Brown. Why?
And think about it. For the past 5 years, they have been trying to capitalize on Sonic. They tried to make ugly Sonic cool with Chip and Dale. People were repulsed by it, and they're trying to convince you that, oh no, we got the real great design. You lost out. Then this, and then you had Twisted Wonderland with blue hedgehogs everywhere. Yeah. Now, and then Lilo and Stitch live action, right? And then Lilo and Stitch live action does, well, granted, the original movie already had this plot,
right?
But it's more obvious that they tweaked more of the story to match up with the first Sonic movie. So Disney is trying to dead set on trying to make a Sonic movie without getting Sonic itself.
How about you be more concerned about what you're putting out and what you're doing and stop worrying about Sega and Paramount and Sonic. How about that?
They're that.
All your actors already in the movie. Be satisfied.
Right. They're that insecure where they feel like they need to do this. Just make a movie. Make a Disney movie that people want to see.
So now the music. The best songs we mentioned was HEIGH. I hope that's the name of it.
Yeah.
Other than that, the songs were not inspiring. They were not moving. They were not entertaining. And I'll say it again for you not listening. Rachel Zegler's voice is fine. The songs were bad.
Yes, all the songs
were bad.
All of them were bad.
And I do believe if they had given her a better song and she could have performed with emotion
Yeah.
and meaning, then the songs probably would have been better.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot, nope, don't let her sing again. Sorry.
Nope.
Waiting to see you in the next Fast and Furious movie, but I don't want to hear you sing. I am so
Nope.
sorry, Gal Gadot. I am so sorry, but no.
No.
Costumes were cheap. You could tell they were cheap as heck. They no longer
Oh,
want to put
God.
money into having people create beautiful costumes for period pieces or anything. Her dress was a piece of crap. I'm sorry. Snow White's dress looked like they went
Yeah.
to the Disney store, got an adult-sized version of their Snow White outfit, and
Yes.
put it on her.
That's it.
What is that?
That's it. That's all they did. That's what it feels like they did. It's like, oh, look, we have the dress from the original.
And all the people in the movie, you could tell they were dressed in just crappy clothes.
from the beginning to end.
Gal Gadot, they didn't even take the time to give her a beautiful wicked stepmother dress like in the movie. Oh, let's just make it black. That's good enough.
Yeah.
Put that over her head. Give her a cheap crown. You could have put so much into here. You spent again $336 million, but it did not go into this movie.
Right.
So where did it go? It definitely didn't go into special effects. It definitely didn't go into the music. It didn't go into a symphony or an orchestra.
Nope.
It didn't go into acting lessons. It didn't go into marketing because,
No. all
marketing
this-
doesn't cost that much.
No, it doesn't. They're excuses they're gonna make. And then the story itself, they basically take the original one and decide to put more emphasis on being a good leader. Now, who's the fairest of them all? They don't mean in beauty
Right.
and skin. They mean having a good heart and knowing the people, because they put a lot of emphasis on Snow White from her parents who were the rulers. I'm going to get something about that in a sec. That she knows all the people by heart. That probably could have been
That
something
could have been
interesting.
endearing.
But
could
it
have
was
been.
it was so bad. It was so over your head with, yes, we know this is the good guy and this is the bad guy, that it was just, it didn't work.
And if it hadn't been that way, that part of the movie would have been endearing because, yes, having her remember their names and their lives
And their
and their
families.
contributions, that could have been endearing. But
Yeah.
tied up with the rest of them, as you said, like thumbing their nose up at the audience, look, this is why we chose her. So
Yeah. And then I gotta add this, and Shinigami Phoenix actually pointed this out when he was talking about the movie online. And he has said, this is just Wish in
Yeah.
live action.
Yep.
They said they really hurried up and used this movie use this for a live action movie, because everyone knows we're gonna get a live action Wish at some point in history.
I hope not.
And it looks like they already did tell me with Snow White. They combined that movie and Wish together, because we watched it and we couldn't believe how
many references.
and many references and eerily similar. The only thing he didn't have was a star in here. Even her parents, who were the king and queen, looked like live action.
Sure did.
And Maya Magnifico with the dress and the hairstyle, speaking Spanish, everything.
Yeah.
And it was unnerving to see, like, why did they use this so quickly? Like they were trying to already remake the movie within another movie and try to backtrack.
But you won't give us the concept, original idea, animated. But you want to put it in other things you're making. And this
Yeah.
is not the first thing they've put Wish concept things in. There have been at least 5 movies, animated and live action, that they have reused the Wish concept.
Yeah.
Just make the movie. Just make it like it was meant to be. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
And we will be happy. But we know you're not going to do it. So just stop riffing off Wish, please.
Please.
So let's get to the cast.
Yeah.
Rachel Zegler as Snow White. And she's described as fearless, kind, and pure-hearted princess. Too bad her performance did not convey that. Olivia Varell was baby Snow White. And Amelia Falsha was young Snow White. Gal Gadot as the evil queen. Again, one of her worst performances ever.
Yeah.
Andrew Burnap as Jonathan. A new character created as Snow White's love interest.
Yeah, 'cause
which
it
was
can't-
funny because they kept saying, Rachel kept mouthing off there wasn't going to be a love interest.
You
and
don't
she
need
didn't
it.
need no man.
Right.
But then all of a sudden in the movie, she kind of sort of got one.
Yeah,
And they
because
tried to
of the
pretend there was a
backlash.
love story, but there was no chemistry between she and the guy at all. There was absolutely none.
No. And that's because people backlash when they said the romance was outdated, along with other things they claim, and people were so pissed they just threw it back in.
Jeremy Swift as the voice and facial capture of Doc, Martin Kleba as Grumpy, George Salazar as Happy, Titus Burgess as Bashful, Andy Grotoleshkin as Sleepy, Jason Kravitz as Sneezy, and Andrew Barth as Dopey. Again, the voice cast for the CGI dwarfs was excellent. Best part of the movie.
Yep.
Patrick Page as the voice and facial motion capture of the magic mirror, which really didn't have a place in here. You saw it a couple times. It really didn't have any bearing on the story like it originally did. One thing we're going to get to before we stop, you also had Hadley Fraser and Lorena Andrea appear as the Good King and Queen, with Christina Alabato providing the singing voice. And you had some people in minor roles. The Royal Guards consists of Adrian Bauer as the Captain of the Guards, Philip Bejaranjo as Guard Paul, and Simeon Oakes as Guard Matthew. Josh Main Joseph is Guard William, and Sheik Chan as Guard Arthur. Now, something we didn't mention that we really need to get to, every scene practically had Rachel Zegler in it. Overkill. Too much.
Oh my
It
gosh.
focused on Rachel Zegler about 95% of the movie.
The camera.
And you just didn't want to see her anymore. It was like they pretended she was intricate to every scene. She wasn't. And if you remember the Snow White movie, Snow White wasn't in every freaking scene in the movie.
No. In fact, there were points where she wasn't even the focus for a chunk of the film because it was on the Seven Dwarfs or the Evil Queen or something. The fact that they felt the need to put that camera on her, and it was so bad. It's like if you watch on your phone and you move it around, it still stays on her. You can't see anything else going on because there's no cinematography. There is no focus on locations and cities and sets or anything because there's nothing there. It's just on her. It was like watching Wish I Love Again where the whole thing was on Asha. To that movie's credit, at least I saw the kingdom within that around her.
Absolutely. So we know the movie was a box office bomb. No need to get into critic reviews or anything. Most of the ratings were 1 star or 1 out of 10, and they were fair as far as we're concerned after watching this. It was pulled from theaters because of controversies and because it was terrible and no one wanted to see it. And it made money at first, $115 million, because again, you got the loyal Disney fans plus those who just wanted to see what they did, and I were terribly disappointed. It's only exclusively right now on Disney Plus. They won't even put it on DVD, I don't think, because they don't want
I don't even know if it's on there.
to be embarrassed, I guess, that it's not going to sell.
Yeah.
Which, again, the Disney loyal will buy, and that'll be it, and it will be very low sales.
Yeah.
Last thing, Rachel Zegler kept opening her mouth, calling the storyline weird, and remarking that Snow White was saved by a guy who literally stalks her. She condemned the plot of her own freaking movie, saying that Snow White was not going to be saved by the prince. And again, needs to shut up. If you ever get another movie, we advise you to keep your mouth shut. But recently we heard you saying some things, so you just can't do it. So I think it's going to be a long time before we see Zegler in a live action. She voiced an animated character for a Netflix movie.
Yes, a movie called Spellbound. She was the main character.
And maybe that's the route that Rachel Zegler should go and just leave live action acting alone, because you have created a legacy that is terrible, and this is not going to be forgotten for a very long time.
No.
So if you saw Snow White at the movie theaters, or you've seen it on Disney Plus, let us know in the comments. Snow White 2025. What do you think of it? We think it's terrible. This is one of the few movies we are giving an F-.
Yep. Complete
It's that
failure.
terrible. There's no redeeming factor or grace. The only thing good with the dwarfs, but we can't give a grade and make it higher because of the performance, excellent performance of the voice actors in the CGI. They were robbed. They were screwed over because of the rest of the movie.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus. We recommend you go ahead and just pass, unless you just want to be bored and horrified at how terrible it is.
Right.
It's not even funny. There's nothing funny about it. So if you want to go ahead into the abyss of the lion's den, Go ahead, give it a watch, come back and tell us what you think.
And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates, movies, for your anime series, anime shows, and all things animation, and unfortunately more live action Disney remakes.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for joining us today. As always, you are a special.
Thank you so much for watching Mask Entertainment.
And a Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace, and hope this adds to your April Fool's Day.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Hit her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket.